Welcome to the channel, Gaming Army. Coming your way in this video today, we are going to take a deep dive into the Panther Hero Mech, also known as the Katana Cat. Now, if you're asking, well, Juan, how did we get here? Well, it's a pretty long story, but you need it for context. And it all starts with the fact that PGI is running its massive Beach Party 2023 event. It's a full 2-month event full of loot bags, tons of free loot, and even the chance for you to earn up to 4 free Hero Mechs with Mech Bays. Let me repeat that again. 4 free Hero Mechs with Mech Bays. So the first phase of the event focuses on light hero mechs, and that leads us to where we are today. It comes full circle, and that's why we're taking a deep dive into the Katana Cat. And as with any review and deep dive, I want to start at the beginning, and that means going back to take a look at the mech straight from the factory to find out what you get. And as we have that discussion, I've got a couple of great drops coming your way that are going to be playing out in the background. 2 skirmish drops, as a matter of fact. The first one being a skirmish match on Tourmaline Desert, and not just any Tourmaline Desert. If it looks a little bit different to you, that's because this is lost footage of Tourmaline Desert back when there was a glitch in the system and not all of the terrain artifacts were loading in for Tourmaline. So that is why it looks so funky and barren. It was kind of like a desert polar highlands in the day, so to speak. So enjoy this lost footage while we continue our discussion about the Katana Cat. So the Katana Cat is something rather different than your standard Panthers. Yes, it still looks like a Panther, and it is a great looking mech, by the way. But you should notice right off the bat, you aren't limited to just one weapons group on the right arm. You have weapons groups on both arms, and we should really take a look under the hood to see what's going on with that. So your stock loadout looks something like this. Straight from the factory, it comes with 2 PPCs, one in the left arm, one in the right arm. You have your SRM-4, some jump jets for maneuverability. Top speed is only 64.8 ph, which puts this on the slower end of the scale for light mechs, and a 28.6 alpha. Having weapon systems in both arms is something rather unique and nice to see on a Panther chassis. The top speed is a bit problematic when you think it's not even 65 kph. However, it makes up for it in the fact that you have 2 PPCs, which are long-range weapon systems, so you can reach out and touch the enemy, and of course then you have the SRM-4s as backup in case you get pushed. The next important stop on our discussion has to be the quirks. In other words, what does this mech bring to the table as far as specialities, or do they give you some indications as to what you might use it for in the building process? So, checking into the quirks, it has a big one in a minus 20% overheat damage taken quirk, which is kind of nice. Survivability is pretty nice. It's pretty standard for the Panthers. You see a lot of plus 12s and plus 15s to base armor. And of course it has the all-important 30% C-bill earned bonus because it is a hero mech. Where things get really interesting is check out the firepower quirks. You get plus 40% PPC velocity, which lends it towards PPCs, minus 10 heat generation. It has a light PPC heat skill limit of +1. So that's something interesting. Maybe this could be a light PPC boat. Plus 10% to range, minus 10% energy cooldown, minus 15% missile cooldown. So it has a lot to offer in the firepower family. Just note, if you do try to go with the light PPC boat approach, that's pretty much all you're going to carry. 2 light PPCs left arm, 2 light PPCs right arm. And unless you start shaving down your speed or armor, I found it very difficult to put another missile launcher back into the mech. But I'm not saying it couldn't be done. Play around with it. See what builds you come up with. And by the way, if you have a favorite build, be sure to put that in the comment section at the bottom of the video. Now, jumping into the action that's been going on in the background on this drop, I think in this one my role was kind of removing the enemy fast movers from the board, and I was actually pretty successful at it. I took out the enemy Viper, I removed the enemy Javelin from the game, and I also put down the enemy Incubus, so that gives us 3 kills, and now I'm kind of in a pickle. The rest of the enemy units that are left in this drop are holed up in the Fox 5 low area, and they had 2 UAVs protecting the approach from where I was at. Meanwhile, their urban mech is on the hilltop at Fox 6, so it's made maneuvering in very difficult, but I've managed to get it done. And now I'm harassing the enemy units, putting them under pressure like this Stormcrow. We're lighting him up left and right. The Marauder can't pay attention to me because my teammates are pushing him from around the corner. A teammate finishes off the Stormcrow, and it allows me to get some chip damage in on the Marauder, opening up his back and doing a tactical shutdown at the same time. So it's kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. There's a friendly Annihilator pushing around the corner. There's PPC fire from up on high, and that is that irritating little urban mech. I had seen him earlier in the match, just didn't get enough damage done on him, and now he's up here where it's going to be very difficult for the rest of my teammates to push him, so I'm going to take lead on this because I have the all-important jump jets, and this is a very high peak to push. So getting up and over, there we go. Get some harassment shots on him. I'm being joined by a teammate as well. I don't know if he has jump jets or not to make it up there, but we'll see if we can push him off the top. Coming up and over, keeping him off of this top ridge. If he's down in the low ground, the rest of my teammates can focus him, which they've done so beautifully. There go the rest of his weapons. So now it's just a matter of hunting him down to finish him off, and the teammate's going to get the kill on that one. Bringing this drop to a close, switching over to our end screen, we wind up with 3 kills, 7 assists, 10 components destroyed, 605 damage done. Moving on to our next drop. This one is also a skirmish match as mentioned earlier, but this time we are on Vitric Station. So as this drop plays out in the background, I want to revisit some things about the Katana Cat. Most notably is the changes that I've made to the chassis and why. If you noticed in that first match, obviously I am not running the stock loadout, and I have gotten rid of all the PPCs altogether. Now, I definitely have some reasons for doing what I did with this mech. First of all is I own, I think, pretty much all of the different Panther chassis. So that means I've got plenty of them with PPCs and snub-nosed PPCs and ER lasers and that whole route. So I was looking for something a little bit different. Secondly, this mech straight from the factory, I had a huge problem with the speed. It doesn't have ECM. 64.8 kph could make you a sitting duck on the battlefield, especially in a light mech. So I didn't like that. And last but not least, this particular chassis in the Panther family has a lot more weapons loadout choices. There's a lot more that I see that could be done with this mech. So, rolling up my sleeves and playing Dr. Frankenstein with it, let's take a look under the hood to see what I've done with it. My build goes something like this. I went with 4 medium pulse lasers and SRM-2. I've got jump jets for maneuverability, although I did give up one of the 4 that originally came with it, but that has allowed me to make some crucial tweaks to this mech, and that is the fact that I now run at 106.5 kph. and I still have a decent alpha, 28.3 alpha versus the stock loadout at 28.6. So in my mind, this makes this a perfect light hunter-killer because I carry a decent amount of firepower. They cycle through very quickly, and I've got the speed to pursue and somewhat keep up with the faster moving mechs, at least long enough to get a few volleys of weapons fire into them. So that's what I like about this particular loadout. And if all of this information has helped you make a decision about the Katana Cat, whether for or against, make sure you leave it a big fat like in the comment section below. And if you have enjoyed this content and want to join the Sleepless Nights Gaming Army, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future content like this. And guys, I appreciate all of your support for the channel in helping it grow. Getting back into the action on this drop, out of the gate I waited on the left side for the enemy to rotate into me. And as that dynamic played out, I came across 2 of their missile units. I marked them on the map and have been trying to keep them busy. The LRM unit got away from me, but I stayed on top of this huntsman, and that's because he's running ATMs, which under his minimums do no damage, leaving him just those ER small lasers. And the fact that I had better firepower in close has managed to wear him down to the point where now we're going to take the kill on him. And while that was an important kill, and keeping him tied up kept his ATMs from raining on my teammates, the problem is it took way too long. It took me too long to put him down, and that was time that I could have spent softening up other targets or taking other mechs off the board. As it stands now, it's 6-5. We only have a 1 kill. Well, there goes our 1 kill advantage. Now it's tied up. It looks like they're starting to claw their way back. I am open rear CT, but I'm still in this fight. Like I said, I'm just disappointed that it took so long for that duel to play out, and while I'm happy to remove a huntsman from the board, I could have racked up more damage, more kills in that same time frame. And now I'm trying to push some of the enemy units that were up here on this high ground back down, hopefully to my teammates, but that doesn't look like that strategy is going to work either, as the score is now 7-10. It's me and 1 more unit, and now I am last man standing all by myself, and the unit I chose to push is a very fresh Thanatos with AC-20 dual snub build. That is not a fight I should pick and or take, especially since I am really hurt at this point. There's not much hope of pulling this one out, and jumping down, I find myself in the hornet's nest, and they quickly put me down. Switching over to the end screen on this one, we have our single kill. 3 components destroyed, but we did manage to pump out 640 damage done.